live from the Al Newharth Media Center. This is Coyote News.
Tonight on Coyote News, it's International Education Week at USD. Find out how students are celebrating culture and diversity. Plus, a look at one campus organization's annual drag show.
And we take a look at a video produced by 2 USD students that's gathering national attention from several college life websites. Plus, highlights from Saturday's rivalry football game at the Dakota Dome.
Good evening. I'm Jackie Hendry.
And I'm Brandon Noel. We'll get to those stories and more in just a few minutes. First, the headlines with Levi Goots.
A bomb blast yesterday evening killed at least 31 people and left 72 others injured in the Nigerian city of Yola. It's not clear whether the blast was from a planted device or the work of a suicide bomber. Another Nigerian city, Kano, sustained a twin suicide bombing that killed 15 and injured at least 123. Investigators are examining the shooting of an unarmed black man by Minneapolis police. The death of 24-year-old Jamar Clark on Sunday has sparked protests in the city. Live television footage shows officers taking down protesters' tents. 7-year veteran officers Mark Riggenberg and Dustin Schwartz are identified as the officers who responded to a reported domestic assault on Sunday, where they wound up in a confrontation with Clark. And those are your headlines.
We're learning new information this evening about the attacks in Paris. Michael Guerin has been following some developing news and has the latest.
Jackie, an attack on the City of Lights leaves 129 dead and hundreds more injured in hospitals at this hour. France has declared war on ISIS, and now, overnight, the manhunt for those involved continued more than 4,600 miles from USD. In St. Denis, France, a suburb of Paris, just about a mile from the soccer stadium where one of the attacks happened, heavily armed SWAT teams shut down a cell, planning more attacks in Paris. More than 5,000 rounds of ammunition was fired during the hours-long battle that left at least 2 dead. We now know that they were targeting the ringleader of Friday's attack, but French prosecutors are unclear if they were successful. And tonight, newly released video from French military shows the massive airstrikes against ISIS in Syria. Also today, concerns continue in the U.S. about letting Syrian refugees in our borders.
Our nation has always been welcoming, but we cannot let terrorists take advantage of our compassion. This is a moment where it's better to be safe than to be sorry.
26 governors say in the wake of the attacks in Paris, they will not allow Syrian refugees in their states. Legally, it's unclear if governors have power to do that. South Dakota Governor Dennis Dugard says in a statement that the state has not received any refugees and that he doesn't believe they will. However, if that changes, he says South Dakota will explore its options. And tonight, America continues to stand in solidarity with one of its oldest allies.
Thanks for that information, Michael. Now, I understand House Republicans are about to pass a bill that would keep Syrian refugees from entering the United States. Have we heard anything yet from the White House? Yeah, that's just moments ago. President Obama said in a statement he will not sign the bill. The White House says that he is going to veto the bill because it's necessary because of the lives at stake. Thanks, Michael. Throughout the last year, the Government Research Bureau at USD was tasked with evaluating the South Dakota Gear Up program, which prepares low-income Native American students for post-secondary education. Gear Up has fallen under intense scrutiny after a family murder in Platte earlier this year. The evaluation was designed to see if the program is really helping students get ready for college. The GRB was unable to find evidence of increased academic performance because of Gear Up.
So we did pre and post surveys of students who are in the summer honors program, and we weren't able to see significant improvement on really any of the measures that we looked at that we would hope to see significant improvement on for that survey.
Nordyke says a lack of access to data might be to blame for the results. The evaluation comes after the manager of Mid-Central Co-op killed his family before shooting himself and burning down the family's home in September. Mid-Central was administering funds for Gear Up, but the day before the murders, the company found out that their $4.2 million contract would not be renewed. Gear Up works with 24 schools in South Dakota and requires an annual evaluation, but Nordyke says the Government Research Bureau is unlikely to conduct a similar evaluation again. A video produced by 2 USD students has only been on YouTube for a little over a week and has already had over 28,000 views. It's also getting national attention from a variety of college life websites. The video showcases student activities during Dakota Days Week. Many articles sharing the video are calling USD one of the most underrated party schools because of the video, which displays students drinking, tailgating, and cheering on the football team. The video was produced by Byron Banashik and Mason Horacek.
America is often considered a melting pot for a variety of cultures. On this week's Yote Report, Michaela Feldman explores the diversity USD has to offer.
International Education Week here at USD has just begun, and students have already been exposed to a world of cultures. Last night, the Center for Diversity and Community hosted a cultural fair. Sophomore Matthew Presler says USD does a lot of interesting cultural things, and a lot of students don't realize that there is a presence of international communities here.
I think it's a really good learning experience because many of us haven't had that international experience growing up in South Dakota.
Organizations such as the Asian American Association, the African American Association, the Association for the Advancement of Women's Rights, and LASSO presented items and information from their culture. Participants got to experience different cultures of students here at USD through music, food, and other unique items from their home country. The fair is one part of International Education Week. Sophomore Ellen Chung says it's good to know about different cultures, so you know what's going on behind every person.
Both my parents are Vietnamese, and we do a lot of traditional things, and it's kind of hard for me to explain to other people from outsiders. So for me, myself, and my family, it's kind of like something that I have a connection with my family and what I can do to them, and we understand each other about that.
The Association for the Advancement of Women's Rights is a feminist group here on campus. Senior Emily Grody says her group works hard with the other organizations in the Diversity Center.
I think that our group offers a really interesting look at how it is to be a woman in this country, and not just this country, but other countries as well, and the diverse struggles that women have. And I think that's really important to have at a fair like this.
International Education Week is celebrated on almost every campus across the country. For the Yote Report, I'm Michaela Feldman.
International Education Week started on Monday with the first of many events that will take place throughout the week. This week, USD recognizes the multicultural opportunities for students here and abroad. One of the first lectures for the week happened on Monday night in Farber Hall. The lecture focuses on India's foreign policy and relations between India and the U.S.
Internationalization of education makes human beings a better human being in terms of developing better opportunities for prosperity, as well as for greater understanding of the greater understanding between people belonging to different ethnic and cultural backgrounds.
This week's event focused on diversity and culture, including activities like tea tasting, games, and food. International Education Week ends on Friday. Tonight at 8, the International Film Series will be featuring a movie called Milk of Sorrow in Farber Hall. Coming up after the break, how a drag show brought music, dancing, and a lot of sequins and glitter to USD. Plus, find out how one local business is preparing for the biggest shopping day of the year. Stay with us.
Fostering is when you take in an animal into your home and you take care of them until we can find them a permanent forever home.
If you can find it in your heart to do it, it's rewarding.
We do all the vetting, the neutering, the spaying, the medications.
The Humane Society has lots and lots of great dogs and cats that can pull at your heartstrings and make you realize you got a little more to give.
This is Coyote News.
Last Thursday, the Freedom Forum conference room was alive with music, energy, and some flashy clothes. Coyote News' Andy Hartman has the details on one campus organization's annual drag show.
Spectrum, the Gender and Sexuality Alliance group on campus, put on their annual drag show Thursday night. The show's theme was Throwback Thursday, and many of the performances were set to girl power songs from the 70s and 80s. The show has become an anticipated yearly event.
They did one last year. That's like where I came in the picture, was real fascinated with it. I started going to Jones Street, performing down there, and I'm a queen down there now.
For some audience members, like sophomore Blake Warner, Thursday's event was the first time they'd experienced a drag show.
I loved it. There was a lot of audience participation, a lot of high energy, great music. I loved the Beyonce performance, I have to say.
There were 9 different queens in the show, some of them doing 4 or 5 different acts. The participants came from various locations in South Dakota, as well as cities in Iowa, Minnesota, and Nebraska. One of the performers was Brandonna Dupree-Larice, who was named Miss Gay United States 2015 and came down to Vermillion from Minneapolis. For Coyote News, I'm Andy Hartman.
Thanksgiving is next week, and so is one of the biggest shopping days of the year, Black Friday. A Vermillion store is one of many local businesses beginning sales earlier than Friday the 27th. Hibbett Sports is a smaller sporting goods store, and manager Stan Tom says he plans for sales to start this week.
We don't get rushed all at once, and it's a great opportunity for people to come in during that week. They don't have to wait for the Black Friday to do it. We're going to have the sales all week that week, so be a good opportunity to get in.
Tom says the store's location next to Walmart actually boosts sales.
I don't think we necessarily compete. We kind of feed off of each other. Maybe more so us off of them than the other way around.
Later on in the newscast, we'll hear from students about whether or not they plan to shop on Black Friday.
Coming up after the break, USD's boxing club returns to Vermillion. Plus, the University Brass Choir brings their music to the church. Stay tuned.
The Latino Student Organization is a all-inclusive student organization that focuses on bringing in Latino culture to University of South Dakota. We do fiestas, we do piñata parties. We also just hold potlucks where we cook and we just share Latino culture and food and just mingle.
This is Coyote News.
Last week, the USD Brass Choir presented their fall concert at the Vermillion United Church of Christ. Band director Dr. Rolf Olson says it's been a few years since the brass choir has played in a church, and it feels like a new experience.
Doing a concert in a church is a little bit new, and then doing a concert mostly of hymn tunes is kind of different too. So that's a different theme than we normally do.
With the structure of the church in mind, the choir plays several hymns, which is also
Especially
different for the group.
The first one we did, where one group of the players are in the back and one's in the front, and sometimes they be side to side. And we call that antiphonal music.
Olson says another benefit of playing in a church is that the smaller venue allows for a more personal experience with the audience. Olson also says the choir will have several more opportunities to play in churches by the end of the month. The brass choir has 2 concerts scheduled for next semester, one in February and one in April.
Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, and Floyd Mayweather are all famous boxers. But do you ever think about where they started? Tonight, Coyote News' Heath Nimke takes us inside the boxing club that's making a return to Vermillion.
Sounds of thuds on a bag, sniffling of the nose, and smell of sweat lets you know you're in a boxing gym. USD is getting their boxing club back. The USD Boxing Club left several years ago because they didn't have enough members for the club. But now lifetime head coach Jody Harnois is bringing the club back. And it's not just for men either. Even women can be a part of the club. Kyle Johnson says a flyer is what got him to join the team.
I don't know. I mean, need something to do. I've been in town for 4 or 5 months now, so it's been something I always thought was fun, and I thought I'd check it out.
It's not too late to join the team either. The club is always welcoming in new members. Harnois hopes to receive some national recognition as well.
Our objective is to eventually become a part of the National Collegiate Boxing Association. And there is a affiliate that's based out of Ames at Iowa State that we'd like to compete against at some point, maybe in the spring.
Members need to be certified and be able to travel to compete in boxing. Practices happen every Monday through Thursday. Mondays and Wednesdays are more for one-on-one with Coach Harnois, and Tuesdays and Thursdays are full practice for everyone. Jody also helps fighters get ready for Teak Fight Night in the spring, a charity event that he helped get started. Jody hopes to keep the club around for many years to come. For Coyote News, I'm Heath Nimke.
The USD Boxing Club requires that you bring a mouthpiece if you want to participate. On this week's Coyote blog, Andy Hartman explains why she isn't upset about the early appearance of Christmas decorations and other festive holiday items.
So I went to Walmart the other day, and what do I find? Christmas decorations. It's not Thanksgiving yet, and the Christmas decorations are already out. They're all over stores, there are Christmas commercials playing on TV, and people are planning their annual Christmas parties, even though we're barely halfway through November. And I love it. The day the Christmas decorations come out is the day my soul begins to sing. I love Christmas. I'd start decorating for Christmas in October if it were socially acceptable. A lot of people are annoyed by the Christmas decorations coming out early. Well, I'm annoyed by people who don't have Christmas spirit. You're like the Grinch, except you're not green, hairy, and awesome, and you probably couldn't carve the Whoville roast beast even if you tried. I know that a lot of people are against early Christmas decorating because it kind of overshadows Thanksgiving. But let's be real, Thanksgiving is basically just watching football games and yelling at the refs on the TV screen who can't hear you. At least that's how my family does it, and the majority of my family is female. Sure, putting up Christmas decorations isn't fair to the turkey, but do you know what else isn't fair to the turkey? Shoving it into an oven and then eating it. I mean, I can't really speak for the turkey population, but they probably don't appreciate that. Thanksgiving is a time to think about what you're thankful for, and I'm thankful for the peace and joy that the Christmas season brings, no matter how early it starts. A lot of people don't agree with me because they have no Christmas spirit. Chestnuts are roasting on an open fire, and you killjoys don't get any. For Coyote Blog, I'm Andy Hartman.
Thanks, Andy. Coming up after the break, highlights from the Coyotes versus Jackrabbits rivalry football game. Stay with us.
Fostering is when you take in an animal into your home and you take care of them until we can find them a permanent forever home.
If you can find it in your heart to do it, it's rewarding.
We do all the vetting, the neutering, the spaying, the medications.
The Humane Society has lots and lots of great dogs and cats that can pull at your heartstrings and make you realize you got a little more to give.
This is Coyote News.
Tonight on Coyote Sports, USD falls to rival SDSU in football, and Coyote News' Sean Bauer previews the volleyball team's upcoming trip to the Summit League Championship. I'm Erica Arpan.
And I'm Anthony Gosh. Coyote athletes in several different sports are making headlines on the national stage. But first, the headlines. Levi?
The University of North Dakota has chosen the Fighting Hawks as its new nickname. UND hasn't had a nickname since 2012 after the NCAA found its previous nickname, the Fighting Sioux, offensive to Native Americans. Fighting Hawks beat out the Rough Riders for the official mascot. A friendly soccer game between Germany and the Netherlands was canceled yesterday after a bomb threat was made. This cancellation came just 4 days after the Paris terrorist attacks, when bombs went off near a soccer stadium. No explosions have been found and no arrests have been made from the threat. The Houston Rockets have fired head coach Kevin McHale after starting the season 4-7. McHale, who led the Rockets to the Western Conference Finals last year, had a 193-130 record in 4+ seasons as Rocket head coach. And those are your headlines.
USD fell to rival SDSU 30-23 on Saturday at the Dakota Dome. The Coyotes led the Jacks 20-10 heading into the fourth quarter, but were unable to hold the lead. SDSU junior quarterback Zach Luan replaced starter Taryn Christian in the fourth quarter and rallied the Jacks for the 7-point win. Ryan Sager threw for 266 yards and accounted for both USD touchdowns, while freshman running back Michael Frederick ran for 143 yards to lead the Coyotes. The loss drops USD to 5-5 on the year and 3-4 in the Missouri Valley Conference play. They conclude their regular season on Saturday at Illinois State. A win will make the Coyotes eligible to be selected for the FCS playoffs.
USD junior Miles Bergner has been named to the both College Football Performance Awards FCS Place Kicker Award watch list and the Punter Award watch list. In addition, defensive end Andrew Van Ginkel has been named to the CFPA FCS National Freshman Performer of the Year watch list. Bergner is one of 34 place kickers and one of 34 punters on the list. Van Ginkel is the only defensive lineman selected to the 32-person freshman list. The award winners will be announced on January 13th. More Coyote athletes are making a splash on the national stage as senior cross-country runner Amber Eichhorn qualified for the NCAA National Championships for the second consecutive year on Saturday. Eichhorn placed 8th at the NCAA Midwest Regional in Lawrence, Kansas. She was the 4th individual not on a qualifying team to finish, which earned her automatic berth. Eichhorn will be competing in Louisville, Kentucky on Saturday morning at 11 for the national championships.
The USD volleyball team has earned the 5th seed in the Summit League Conference Tournament. Coyote News' Sean Bauer has more on the team's upcoming match.
Thanks, Erica. The Coyotes clinched the 5th seed with a win over Fort Wayne on Sunday and a loss by Oral Roberts. I sat down with Brittany Jessen to talk about the team's expectations going into Friday.
So you guys were down 2-0 on Sunday. You were able to come back and get the win. How were you guys able to do that?
I think just our determination in that moment. Losing 2 games at the beginning is tough to come back, but between the break of game 2 and 3, we really just decided to make that change. We made some small adjustments, but really just being more aggressive and just focusing all together, everyone on the same page that we were going to win that game.
Now, with that comeback win, you guys gained some momentum. Do you think that'll help you at all come into Friday's game against North Dakota?
Yes, definitely. We're split 1-1 with North Dakota right now in conference. So it's anybody's game, neutral site at Denver. It'll be a really good game. So this week we've been watching film and focusing on things we can do and just playing to our strengths, really focusing on what we're best at and focusing on some of the things that they struggle with. So, yeah.
Okay, like you said, you guys split your season series with North Dakota State. What will you have to do on Friday in order to beat them?
I think get out to an early lead. A big jump, especially in the tournament, builds confidence for us and is deflating for the other team. So that's a really important thing. Also, just focusing on the game plan and playing relaxed. I think in some of these moments, a conference tournament can bring up a lot of nerves, but just staying calm and knowing what we always do.
All right, now conference tournaments, it's win or go home. What have the coaches been telling you guys to not put too much pressure on yourselves?
I think that they're very good at knowing what to say in certain situations. Sometimes they're very honest and aggressive of the things that they want fixed, and sometimes they know just to build us up with confidence and really get us refocused. I think they're very good at knowing now that when comes Friday, they've done all they can and we've done all we can to prepare, so it's really just about performing. So I think they're very good at keeping our nerves down.
Thanks, Sean. Last night, the Coyote women's basketball team fell to Northern Iowa. Kate Liveringhouse led all USD players with 11 points, while Margaret McLeod added 6 points and 6 rebounds. The Coyotes were without Nicole Seekamp, who can't play for the team's first 2 games due to her reinstated eligibility. USD falls to 0-2 on the year. They play Kansas State tomorrow night in Manhattan. The Coyote men went 1-2 this past weekend at the Northern Illinois Showcase. USD dropped its first 2 games against Wright State and Northern Illinois, but won their final game against CSUN 76-72. Coyote senior Eric Robertson scored a career high of 16 points to lead the Coyotes, while Trey Burnett and Casey Kasperbauer each added 13 to the win. The Coyote men travel to Manhattan, Kansas on Friday to take on Kansas State. On this week's Reiner's Report, Devin discusses the possible downfall of one of his favorite NFL players.
Peyton Manning entered last Sunday's game against the Kansas City Chiefs just 3 yards shy of the NFL career passing yards record held by Brett Favre. Manning broke the record on a 4-yard completion in the first quarter. The game was stopped so the fans could celebrate the moment along with Peyton. However, the cheers didn't last long. Peyton played arguably his worst game of his career, completing only 5 passes and throwing 4 interceptions before being replaced by backup quarterback Brock Osweiler in the third quarter. This hasn't been the season people are used to seeing from Peyton. He isn't making the throws we've seen him make his entire career. Now he's going to be missing some time with a torn plantar fascia. Could this be the end of Peyton Manning? Unfortunately, I think it is. Even if he's able to get healthy and return to the Broncos lineup this season, I don't see him returning to what he was. And I don't see him playing past this season. He's the all-time leader in touchdown passes and passing yards. He has a Super Bowl ring and is almost certainly a first-ballot Hall of Famer. He will go down in history as the quarterback who transformed the passing game in the NFL, and I think he is one of the top 3 quarterbacks to ever play the game. I hate seeing a great player like Peyton Manning decline because of age, but he was definitely fun to watch. And that's the Reiners Report.
Thanks, Devin. We'll be right back.
This is Coyote News.
As we mentioned earlier in the newscast, next week's Thanksgiving holiday is quickly followed by the biggest shopping day of the year.
On this week's Out and About, we asked students if they plan on participating in Black Friday shopping.
No, because I'll be working, but I would love to.
No, because I don't do shopping anyways.
Yes, I am, because it has become quite a tradition for me.
I think so, mostly because I think there's a lot of good deals that you can find, and you never know. It's kind of crazy, though.
No, because I'm going to the Iowa and Nebraska game.
No, mostly because I have no money, so that's probably not an option right now.
No, because I've already spent way too much money this year.
I will not be going Black Friday shopping because I don't really like big crowds or anything.
No, I don't like all the crowds and the people, so I don't usually go. No, I'm not going Black Friday shopping. I think it's too crazy. People get trampled.
No, it's not really my thing, and I also have to work, so.
I'm not, because it's not fair to the people who have to work retail. I am not, because online shopping is a lot easier.
It's because I'm a broke college student and everything is cheaper on Black Friday, and I love Gap.
On this week's edition of Coyote Shorts, we take a look at how one presidential candidate is campaigning at USD.
Coyotes, we need a wall. And I'm not talking about a wall on the Mexican border. No, we need a wall much closer to home. We face a much bigger threat closer to home. And that is, we are being invaded by jackrabbits. We had thousands of jackrabbits come in our city just this weekend. Thousands, unimpeded by law enforcement. They just came in. The ovens, they're broke. Just like our economy. I can fix both the ovens and the economy. Pizza bagels and economies. Both fixed. Donald Trump. I'm gonna meet you for a second. Donald Trump running for president. What's your name?
Sacred.
Sacred. Nice to meet you, Sacred. Donald Trump running for president.
Nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you. Thank you for all you do. You're doing great jobs. Vote for Trump. They don't have jobs. They're hobos. They're gonna take our good jobs for good Vermilion people. And now listen, I think Sammy Sauce, great person, great personality, but we can't trust her. She went to SDSU. She went there. We can't trust her to build a wall. She already made a bad decision. We can't trust her to build a wall. That's why you need to elect me, Donald Trump, president. Because we need to build this wall to keep out all the jackrabbits. They're gonna take our jobs. I have a good authority that Shay's closed because of the jackrabbit invasion. Listen.
Lucas, get out of my office. This is not your office.
You know what? I'm going to talk to you people.
Out.
I'm going to talk
I'm going to talk to you people.
I will not be harassed like this. I'm leading in the polls. I'm leading in the polls. Do you not know this? I'm your front runner.
Lucas, out.
If you'd like to be on Coyote News next semester, you can audition on December 9th and 10th from noon to 4 in the Al Newharth Media Center, room 219.
Coyote News is done for the semester, but we'll see you in 2 weeks for the Red Report. Remember, it's not real news, it's the Red Report. Have a great night.